What's up, YouTube, and welcome to the next episode of my Gamer Pro Tip series. Today we're going to be talking about a new accessory for the Sega Genesis CDX system that allows you to play the Sega 32X games with that system. And I know this is probably a topic that's going to appeal to maybe about 5 people that would have the same interest in playing 32X games on their Sega CDX, but I do think this is a very cool piece that has recently been created. So here you have the actual Sega Genesis CDX system with the 32X sitting on it, but what is enabling those two to partner together is the piece I'm going to talk about today. This is from a computer laser printing company called Laser Bear, and I'll put a link in the description of how to access this product if this is something you're interested in. But I decided to purchase this just to check out if this would solve something that I was really looking for, just for convenience factor to play my 32X games on this compact Sega CDX that I use very frequently. So just to give a little history on the Sega 32X, when this system came out as the add-on for the Genesis, the instruction manual provided how to hook it up to the two most commonly used platforms, which would be the Sega Genesis 1 as well as the Sega Genesis 2. The Sega Genesis 3 is not compatible with the 32X because it is missing some of the internal hardware that the 32X needs to connect. So it does clearly say that you cannot use it with that piece of hardware. When this initially came out, though, it came with a instruction sheet, and I've got the original 32X instructions here that just shows the parts and everything that was included. But one of the things the instructions alludes to is how to connect this to a Genesis CDX. And if you notice here, it mentions a specific part, which is a spacer, that can be used to connect the 32X through the spacer into the CDX. And what it'll say here is sold separately, part number 2536924. So Sega was intending to sell this unique connector part to enable these two systems to work together, but it sounds like it never actually happened. I'm not aware of anybody that owns this actual original factory part that the manual alludes to. And I think what even changed from when they printed the manual to when they printed the system box is they realized we're actually not going to sell that part. So if you look very closely at the actual 32X box, it even has a sticker on the front that says compatible with all Genesis units except for the CDX. So again, I do think that spacer part was canceled. Fast forward, whatever it's been, 25 years plus, Laser Bear decided to create their own spacer based on the specs of that factory spacer that never existed. So they have made a laser printed part, I think that's how you say it, that connects these two pieces together. And it's a very simple add-on piece. It was about 20 bucks. Quick shipping, no issues with that, that enables these two to work together. There's a few benefits to that. So if you look at the form factor of the CDX and the 32X, this enables you to really use the 32X as a pass-through without having to unhook hardware. And one of the other reasons that I like the CDX and the 32X is the CDX has the benefit of only needing one power supply to power the CD unit and the Genesis. And if you were to use the Genesis 1 or 2 with a CD add-on, you would be looking at 2 separate power supplies you'd have to provide. So already that gets you down to 1 power supply for the Sega Genesis and the CD combined, and then you do have to add the extra power supply for the 32X, which is a pain, but at least two giant bricks power supplies is better than the 3 that you would have with the typical Genesis setup. Alongside that, you just have the smaller footprint of the CDX, which is what makes it appealing. So just thinking about how you would use this unit, you can obviously plug a standard Genesis cartridge into the slot, and it'll pass through the 32X and play that way. You can use this to play your 32X games, which again just go right into the slot, enabling the 32X mode once it's all wired up. But the thing that this does allow you to do with the CDX that you normally would not be able to do is now you can play your CD games and not have to swap them, or you are able to swap them in the middle of gameplay with the 32X hooked up. So if you didn't have the spacer, you could technically push the 32X into the CD unit where it would pass through for the 32X games, but what you wouldn't be able to do is you couldn't open the CDX unit to put in a CD game. You would have had to have taken the 32X off and able to do that. So this enables another really cool feature of the CDX mixed with the 32X is you can also play the very few games that are these Sega CD 32X CD combo games. And the way that these games work is you load the Sega CD disc first into the CD player, and then it detects the 32X being hooked up to it, and it asks you to swap it in the middle of gameplay. You flip over to the 32X CD, which is also included in the package, and then it enables the enhanced mode with the 32X. So Fahrenheit is one of the few games that enables you to do that. The beauty of this laser bear adapter is you can do that swap to the disc without having to pull the 32X off the system. So it does enable those games to be played, which normally you wouldn't be able to play with a CDX hooked up to the 32X. So let me give you a little bit closer look at the stand. It's really not a very elaborate device, but essentially your 32X rests on the stand, and you'll just unhook it from the system, and then your laser bear adapter actually just sits on the back of the unit. So it's just this very simple plastic device that has been custom 3D printed, that's the term I was looking for before, that you use to connect the two. So again, it's got some rough edges around it just from being 3D printed, and it does disclaim that on the laser bear site that this isn't going to look super smooth, but you can see how this was a very homemade product that enables you to do this connection. So again, very nice design. It's got a cutout here on the side where the AC adapter goes in. It's also got another cutout on the back where the AV cable goes in. So it is designed specifically for this application. The only downside I would say to this product is it does have these little notches that are supposed to attach to the bottom of the 32X. They are very fragile, and I actually broke one off just hooking it up, but it still works just fine even with the notch torn off. So just wanted to give you a view into this, if this is something that would interest you, if you are one of the few people that are faced with a similar dilemma of how can I play my 32X in the CDX and be able to swap discs for games that need it, like those 32X CD games. So I thought I'd give you guys take a look at this today. If any of you would be interested in such a device, Laser Bear I think still has these available for order. The one thing that I was hoping that this would work for, and it unfortunately does not, it's no fault of Laser Bear, is you cannot use this as a pass-through for Sega Master System games. So I do have this adapter that I can use on my Genesis, or even just the CDX itself, to play my Master System games by hooking them to the top of it. If you put that adapter into the 32X and try to use that as a pass-through for Sega Master System, it unfortunately will not work. And it's no fault of the adapter, it's due to the 32X itself. Doesn't have that connection that the Genesis does that enables Master System mode. It's something that's locked out of the hardware that I just recently found out. So just the one downside is it's not truly an all-in-all Sega system because you can't play all 4 generations of the hardware, but you can play Sega Genesis CD and 32X with this all hooked up in a very small footprint, which was the other thing I wanted besides the lack of needing 3 AC adapters. So hopefully this helps. If you have any questions about the device, please let me know. And thanks for watching. Please take a moment, like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think. And I will talk to you soon. Have a great day or night, wherever you are.